When a man places his hand on your lower back, it's often one of the clearest yet most misunderstood signs of attraction. This gesture, while seemingly subtle or even casual, carries a depth of meaning rooted in both biology and social dynamics. Unlike a handshake or a playful tap on the shoulder, touching the lower back is intimate. It suggests both a desire to be close and a willingness to take a protective role. It's not about dominance in the aggressive sense, but about creating a safe physical closeness. Think about the situation where this kind of touch happens. Maybe you're walking through a crowded space and he gently places his hand there to guide you through. He could just walk behind you. He could say after you. But instead, he instinctively reaches out. That move says, I've got you. You're important enough for me to create that little buffer between you and the rest of the world. Now, it's essential to recognize that the lower back is a strategic area. It's not overtly sexual like the hips or more neutral like the shoulder. It's somewhere in between. That's why men often go there when they're trying to bridge the gap between polite interest and something more meaningful. It's close enough to feel personal, but far enough to still respect boundaries, at least in the early stages. Men who are emotionally aware or tuned into your energy will often use this touch as a way to test comfort. If you lean in or don't flinch away, they read it as a green light to continue building intimacy. If you step forward or shift away, they'll usually recalibrate. This kind of touch then becomes part of a non-verbal conversation, one that says more than words ever could. It's also worth noting that this gesture often comes naturally. It's not always premeditated. A man who's truly into you may not even realize he's done it. That unconscious instinct to guide or protect is hardwired. It's a kind of physical expression of, I care where you are in relation to me. In some cases, it can be possessive, but not in the toxic way. It's more of a signal to others that there's a connection here. It's a subtle mark of presence, like a private message delivered only through the fingertips. And the way he touches matters too. A firm press might feel controlling. A light touch, almost like a brush, feels gentle and tentative, more emotionally grounded than physically driven. But context is everything. The same touch from a stranger in a bar could feel invasive, while from someone you're emotionally connected with, it feels comforting. That's why interpreting this move depends heavily on who he is to you and how he does it. If he's respectful, warm, and attuned to your energy, it's likely that this touch is an extension of his growing feelings. He's using it to close physical space, yes, but also emotional distance. He wants to feel closer to you, and he's doing so without needing to say a word. The lower back is also a space that responds to trust. You're not usually aware of who's behind you, so allowing someone into that space, even briefly, signals that there's at least some level of comfort and openness. That's why when a man chooses to reach for that area, it's rarely random, it's deliberate or at least deeply instinctual. In the dance of attraction, it's one of those moments where touch becomes a language all its own. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize he's not just guiding you physically, he's showing interest, care, and possibly even affection without ever needing to say a single word. Let's now move to the second place a man will often touch you when he's attracted to you, your hands, and explore this one in detail in the same grounded, emotionally insightful tone. Here's the continuation. There is something profoundly intimate about a man touching your hand. Unlike the lower back, which can sometimes be explained away as situational or even protective, the hand holds a different kind of meaning. It's deliberate, it's focused, and most of the time, it doesn't happen unless he wants it to. That's because the hands are loaded with emotional cues. When a man reaches for your hand, brushes his fingers against yours, or finds small excuses to maintain physical contact there, he's doing something incredibly vulnerable. He's inviting closeness in a way that's both innocent and powerful. Hand touch is symbolic. It has deep cultural and romantic significance. Think about it. From childhood, we associate hand-holding with safety, with care, with connection. We hold hands when we cross the street, when we're scared, or when we're comforted. As adults, that association doesn't go away. If anything, it deepens. That's why when a man touches your hand during a conversation while laughing or during a quiet moment, it almost always reveals his desire to emotionally bond. It's not just physical, it's connective. Now, not all hand touches are the same. There's the quick brush, where his fingers just happen to slide across yours. There's the accidental our hands touched while reaching for the same thing moment, which might not be so accidental after all. Then there's the linger, the part where he doesn't pull away right away, where he lets his hand stay just a second longer than necessary. That extra second, that's attraction making its move. It's subtle, but incredibly telling. It's his way of saying, I like being connected to you without needing to form the words. What's also important is that a man who's genuinely attracted to you doesn't need an obvious reason to initiate that touch. Sure, he might grab your hand to help you out of a car or pull you up from your seat, but the real signs are in the unspoken touches. Does he reach for your hand when you're both laughing at something? Does he playfully tap your fingers during a deep conversation? Does he use moments of silence to gently hold or stroke your hand instead of filling the space with words? These are not just gestures, they're emotional markers. They show his comfort, his interest, and his hope that you feel the same. Interestingly, touching the hands is often a bridge to more physical intimacy later on. It's like a trust-building exercise. If you're comfortable with that touch, if you respond, hold back, or even initiate your own contact, it gives him clues about how emotionally available and open you are. This is one of the few areas where men often test the emotional temperature before moving forward. And if he's emotionally intelligent, he'll notice how you react and adjust accordingly. That hand touch becomes a sort of shared space, something small but powerful. And let's not forget the emotional vulnerability on his side. It might not seem like a big deal, but for many men, reaching out like this, especially without certainty that the gesture will be returned, requires courage. It's a step out of emotional hiding. So when he reaches for your hand, what he's really doing is reaching past the surface level banter, beyond the small talk, and saying, I want to be connected to you, not just around you. Ultimately, touching your hand isn't just about contact. It's about curiosity. It's about intention. And if you pay attention to when and how he does it, you'll begin to see that it's not just his hand reaching out, it's his feelings quietly asking for a place to land. Absolutely. Let's move into the third place a man often touches when he's truly attracted to you, your hair or face. This kind of touch is in a completely different emotional category. It's intimate, it's intentional, and it usually signals that something deeper is going on beneath the surface. Here's the next detailed section, in the same emotionally intelligent, confident tone. When a man touches your hair or your face, he's stepping across a subtle but powerful boundary. These are two of the most personal areas on your body. Unlike the hand or arm, which are relatively neutral and socially acceptable to touch, even in casual settings, the face and hair are reserved for people you trust, or people who want to be close enough to earn that trust. So when a man reaches up to brush a strand of hair behind your ear, fix your flyaway, or lightly graze your cheek, he's doing something far more significant than it may seem in the moment. He's showing emotional closeness, not just physical attraction. Let's talk about the hair first. Hair is sensual, yes, but not necessarily in a sexual way. It's one of those features people associate with beauty and attention. So when a man touches your hair, especially gently, he's often expressing admiration. It's his way of saying, I see you, I notice the details. And more importantly, he's breaking through a wall. Because most people don't just reach out and touch someone's hair unless they feel some emotional right to be that close. Think about it. How often do you let anyone, just reach out and touch your hair? Not often, right? That's because it's an extension of your personal space. So when he does it, he's not just noticing you, he's trying to connect with the part of you that is soft, real, human. Now the face. That's even more telling. Touching someone's face is arguably one of the most emotionally loaded gestures a person can make. It's what we do when someone is crying. It's what happens right before a kiss. It's what lovers do when they want to show tenderness without needing words. So when a man touches your face, maybe to remove something near your eye, to playfully tap your chin, or to gently hold your jaw for a moment, you can be almost certain that his feelings run deeper than surface attraction. This is not a move that comes from boredom or habit. It's intentional. It says, I want to be close to you, not just physically, but emotionally. And here's something a lot of people miss. The level of gentleness matters. A man who is truly attracted to you, not just physically, but emotionally as well, will touch your face or your hair with care. It won't be rough, fast, or casual. It'll be slow, maybe even hesitant, because deep down he knows he's in sacred space. He knows this touch says something, even if no one else hears it. What also makes this type of touch so powerful is when it happens during moments of silence. If he touches your hair while you're deep in conversation or cups your cheek while you're both just looking at each other, he's not just flirting, he's feeling something. That's when you know it's more than charm. That's when you realize the physical is only the vehicle for something emotional he might not know how to say out loud. So pay attention to this kind of touch, not just when it happens, but how and when. Is it rushed? Or does he linger? Is it playful, or does it come with a sense of presence and focus? Is he doing it in a way that makes you feel like you're being studied, appreciated, adored? Because when a man touches your hair or your face, what he's really doing is asking for closeness, not in a loud, demanding way, but in a way that whispers, "You matter to me." It's one of the most quietly intimate forms of connection. And it almost always means his feelings have gone beyond the surface. Let's continue. Now we arrive at the fourth place a man often touches when he's attracted to you, your knee or thigh. This one carries a different kind of energy. It's more daring, more charged, but also layered with nuance. When done respectfully, this touch is often an honest signal of physical desire that's trying to merge with emotional interest. It's not always loud or obvious, but when it happens, it's never by accident. This type of touch usually shows up when you're sitting close to each other, on a couch, in a booth, in a car. And what's interesting is that it rarely begins as bold or invasive. It often starts subtle. His hand might casually rest on your knee for a moment during conversation, or lightly graze your thigh when you both shift positions. He might laugh at something you said, lean closer and touch your leg as a kind of physical punctuation to his emotion. And then, here's the key, he doesn't pull away immediately. That hesitation, that pause, that quiet moment where the hand stays just a beat longer than necessary, that's where the truth lies. Touching the leg is a more intimate gesture, physically speaking, because it's closer to what we consider vulnerable zones of the body. But what matters most is how and when he does it. A man who's purely focused on the physical might go there too quickly, too confidently, without reading your comfort or body language. But a man who's genuinely attracted to you, not just in the surface level sense, but in a layered, emotional way, will approach this area with subtlety and sensitivity. He's not just reaching for your body, he's responding to a vibe, a feeling, a shared energy that's been building up. Here's what makes the knee or thigh touch so telling. It's rarely just friendly. Unlike an arm around the shoulder or a tap on the back, touching the leg crosses into more vulnerable territory. Even if it's light or seemingly casual, it carries a certain heat. If you feel the difference, you're not imagining it, it's real. It's his way of saying, I want to be closer, but without jumping straight to anything overly forward. It's a way of moving in slowly, respecting your space, while still expressing interest. And he watches how you respond. That's the other part. A man who's interested in more than just a one-time moment will be tuned into your body language when he touches your leg. Do you tense up? Do you lean into it? Do you smile or glance at his hand? He's reading those signals, not just to see what you'll allow, but to understand what kind of connection he actually has with you. Because the truth is, this kind of touch, when it's slow, warm, and not demanding, often reveals a man who's not just physically drawn to you, but emotionally curious as well. In some cases, this touch is a turning point. It shifts the energy between two people from we're having a nice conversation to there's something deeper happening here. It doesn't mean he's trying to escalate quickly. It just means he's letting you feel what he's been holding back. And in that pause, in that small moment of physical honesty, there's usually a truth. He's no longer content with just being near you. He wants to experience closeness in a more tangible way. But again, it's not about the boldness of the gesture. It's about the intentionality behind it. The man who touches your knee or thigh with respect, who does it while looking into your eyes, who makes it feel like an extension of an emotional moment rather than a random move, He's telling you something. He's saying, I want to be closer. I'm interested in more, and I'm willing to risk a little vulnerability to show you that. Let's now explore the fifth place a man will often touch you when he's attracted to you: your shoulder or upper arm. At first glance, this might seem like the most innocent of them all, maybe even too casual to mean anything, but that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Because when it comes to attraction, sometimes it's the subtle moves, the ones that slip under the radar, that reveal the most. Touching your shoulder or arm is often the very first kind of physical contact a man initiates when he's interested. Why? Because it's safe, socially acceptable, it doesn't raise eyebrows, he can use it in conversation, during a laugh, or even while offering support, and it won't feel intrusive. But that's what makes it so strategic. When a man chooses to touch you here, he's testing emotional chemistry in real time without putting too much at risk. It's his way of saying, I want to connect while still leaving space to retreat gracefully if the energy isn't mutual. Here's what to look for. Does he touch your arm when he's making a point? When he's laughing at something you said? Does he lightly squeeze your shoulder when he's complimenting you? Or brush against you accidentally, just a little too often? These aren't random gestures, they're signals. He's using his physical presence to create a bridge, one that starts with playfulness but hints at something deep. Because when a man likes you, he'll often try to find the smallest, least risky way to feel close to you without saying it out loud. Now, there's a difference between this and purely platonic gestures. A friend might give you a quick pat on the shoulder or a brief nudge to make a joke. But when a man is attracted to you, the touch lingers. It's softer, more deliberate. He's not just making contact, he's feeling for a response. And if he touches you there often, especially in emotionally charged moments, after a compliment, during a moment of eye contact, or while saying goodbye, that's not just muscle memory, that's intention. The upper arm and shoulder also serve as entry points to deeper intimacy. They're close to the heart, literally and metaphorically. Touching someone there is like knocking on the door. He's asking, can I get closer? And your response, whether you lean in, touch back, or even smile, gives him the answer he's looking for. But it's not just about the physical act, it's about presence. When a man touches your arm or shoulder while looking you in the eyes, he's grounding the moment. He's turning a conversation into a connection. He wants you to feel that he's there, not just next to you, but with you. And if he does it consistently, in different settings, on a date, while walking, during a goodbye, it means the gesture isn't just habit. It's emotion expressing itself physically. It's also worth noticing what follows this kind of touch. Does he move away quickly, like he's unsure of the moment? Or does he stay close, as if the touch was just the first step toward something more? Because the man who touches your arm with interest is often the man who's quietly hoping you'll meet him halfway. He's not grabbing your attention, he's offering an invitation. So while the shoulder or upper arm might not scream romance at first glance, don't overlook it. It's one of the clearest ways a man communicates his desire to be closer while still being respectful. It's a touch that says, I feel something here, and I'm hoping you do too. And in that simplicity, in that subtle opening, lies the very beginning of connection. Let's now explore the sixth and final place a man will touch you when he's attracted to you. These small, brief touches that happen in passing on your lower back, waist, hand, or even your side, when there's no obvious reason to do so. These are what we could call the micro touches, the in-between moments. And often, they're the most revealing of all. When a man is attracted to you, not just physically, but emotionally, he becomes more aware of your presence. That awareness leads to a certain magnetism. His body naturally finds moments to reach for yours, not always in bold or obvious ways, but in quiet, almost imperceptible ones. These small touches often happen in passing. Maybe you're both laughing and he reaches out to steady you with a quick hand on your side. Maybe you're walking side by side and he briefly places his hand on your lower back, then lets it go. Maybe your fingers brush as you pass something between you, and for a second, neither of you pulls away. The reason these touches matter is because they're spontaneous. They're not built into the moment, they're added to it. He didn't have to touch you right then. It wasn't required, it wasn't necessary, but something in him wanted to. That's the difference. These little moments often happen without planning. In fact, the more subconscious they are, the more genuine they tend to be. He's not thinking, I should touch her now to show I like her. He's feeling drawn to you and it manifests as touch. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The micro-touch isn't just about contact. It's about checking for emotional closeness. He's watching how you respond. Do you lean into it, even slightly? Do you mirror the gesture later in the interaction? Do you smile, look up at him, or shift closer? Every response gives him more information, not just about attraction, but about trust, safety, and shared energy. These touches often increase as emotional intimacy builds. At first, they're rare, maybe a quick moment here and there, but as the chemistry grows, so does the frequency. He might rest his hand on your waist for a second when you're moving through a crowd. He might graze your arm during a shared joke. It's as if his body is looking for excuses to feel connected, even when his words don't say it outright. And unlike more overt or socially acceptable touches, these passing gestures feel more emotionally charged. That's because they bypass the logic part of the brain. They're not strategic, they're instinctual. A man doesn't brush your lower back just because he thinks it's a smart move. He does it because his attraction is slipping through the cracks into these little honest moments of touch that happen when he lets his guard down. It's also important to consider the timing. These micro touches usually happen when tension is building, maybe after a few hours of conversation, or when eye contact has lingered too long, or during a pause when no one's speaking. They're a release, a tiny physical way to say, I'm here, I feel this. I hope you do too. So if you're trying to figure out whether a man is truly into you, don't just watch for the big moves, look for the small ones, the ones he probably doesn't even realize he's making, the way he lightly touches your arm as he walks by, the way his hand brushes yours and doesn't jerk away, the soft nudge, the gentle contact during a shared laugh, the quiet connection made not through words, but through presence. Because those are the moments where real attraction lives, not always loud, but always honest.